Hi guys, it's me Karen. Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to do another picture in the Intricate Ink Animals in Detail Volume 5 coloring book by Tim Jeffs. And I'm going to do the cheetah. I'm going to do this in Inktense. We're going to see how water does on this page. So I have a little plastic sheet here that I get from the dollar store. It's just what they call a cutting board. There is a smooth, shiny side and a rough side. And I use the rough side to put my Inktense down on. And I just scribble a little palette here. So we have antique white. Whoa. Me drawing on my page was not a good idea. Okay, so we have Sienna Gold, which is 024. Saddle Brown, which is 1740. Madder Brown, which is 1920. The Antique White is 2300, and then I have a Bark 2000. And I have those scribbled down. So we have the Sienna Gold here. Of course, the Antique White here. Then we have Saddle Brown here. The Madder Brown here. And then the Bark down at the bottom. I have to do something with those nice dark spots, right? So this is how I use my Inktense. A lot of people will put the pencil down first, but I like to use them more as a watercolor base. So what I'm going to do is get the camera down and we will start working. So hold on a moment. All right, here we go. Now I use a Pentel water brush. See that name? And it is the I believe this one's the medium. I have a tinier one, I think. I don't know. I'd have to look that up. It'll be in the description box down below if you open it up. Now first off, I'm going to go where his lightest areas are, and that means getting a little bit of this antique white and a touch of the gold. And we're putting them in together to make a kind of creamy color. These guys aren't exactly white. So we're going to get some of that. That's a lot of water on there. To drip some of that off. Don't want that much in the book. So we will try that again. Do not squeeze the bowl on these. Just get it a little wet. I have a rag on the side here and I'll dab it off there. So we're going to go in and around in the white areas. And that's a lot of water. Shouldn't be that wet. And we're going to go down and around on his chest too. In these lighter areas. I have a piece of paper behind this page so we don't get any water on the next page behind here. Add a little more of the gold color as we go down under the shadows in the white. Front of his legs here. And on this guy over here, a little bit on his tail. Okay. There we go. We'll see how this works. So now we're going to take a little bit of the saddle brown, and we can mix that in there too. Darker color, we want to go kind of, we'll go up here at the head around the edges. So what I do is go where I want it the darkest first, and then the more the brush gets wet, you'll have less of the ink on there and you can go into another area. So I want to go around in here. This is a dark area. Follow the lines that he's put down for you. Saddle brown's a good color for Cheetah. We are going to go over this with a little bit of pencil, so don't think that this is all we're going to do. He does have fur here, so we're going to make fur on him. So down here is where his arm connects. That's going to be a shadowed area. We want to make a darker color there. And down, way down his tummy here. Can we see that? We're going to go in dark down here too, and then bring it up lighter. Okay, could go on the other side here. As long as we keep the water down, I think we're doing okay here. So just use his shadows where he has them to put the darker color. We're going to add a darker color even still in here, but we want to put this color down first. Then of course on his tail. Okay, so that is what he looks like so far. Not too bad. We're going to take some of this madder brown. That's really red. This area is dry up here. Just going to put a little red in there. Then we're going to go in the bark. Going to mix this bark up with a little of the white up here. Don't know how dark I want that. I'm going to put that in the darkest spots here. In his ear. Shadowed areas. Just kind of doing little tiny strokes, so following his fur line. Start those little strokes earlier. Need to get a little more white. I'll just scratch it on there. I'll probably need some more of that saddle brown there too. So I just scratch them on. I'm going to mix those two together. Sorry. Now I should be talking, telling you what I'm doing. Just putting in a little bit. Covering up some of that red I put in there. That was a little dark. A little darkness over here. Okay. I'm going to put a little of this white mix up here in his ear. Just making the tiny little strokes, and they're just following the line that he's putting down for us, going over his little spots, getting color in those. Just going to make that a little deeper. And again, we're just using the little lines. This is still a saddle brown. And following the fur that we have got here. Okay, a little bit more on this side. It's going to be a little too dark if I'm not careful. So one thing I want to be careful about is you can always go a second coat and get it darker, but you can't really get this lighter. It's ink. It goes down. It's kind of where it goes. Stays there. Okay, on this side, we're just going to follow those lines back down this way. This guy has got a full tummy. And get those going upward too. And then down on the legs. Just remember to follow his lines that he has there and you'll be doing just fine. It's one nice thing about a cheetah, it doesn't have a whole lot of color. Okay, we're going to add a little of that bark in here where it's the darkest. And then around its tail down here too. Still using the bark. Now I mixed it with the saddle brown to give it a little more brown down here in the light. And we're going to put some of that down here on his toes. Boy, let's get a little more on the brush. Okay, and on this foot. Can you see this last foot? I don't even know if I'm on screen. Okay. So, all in all, he looks pretty good. Page did crinkle a little bit, which I expected because we are using a water medium. So far this is what we've got, and I'm going to let the whole page completely dry, and then we'll be bringing in pencils. So I'll talk a little more when I'm doing those. So sorry. I was kind of concentrating on those teeny tiny little brush strokes, but I mean, they show up a little bit. If they weren't done like that, you'd notice a difference. So I'm going to let this dry, and I'll be right back. Okay, for the most part it is dry, and I'm going to bring in a little distress ink to give him kind of a little more gold color to him. So this is Scattered Straw, and I'm just going to use this detail mini tool that Tim Holtz sells. So we're just going to take the little guy here, and we're going to, where can you see here? Pounce some of that ink down where I think it got a little darker than I wanted, because I want him to have some gold. We're just gonna bring it around and lightly put that in. Okay, so I'm just kind of using this like a pen, I guess. Just going around, lightly rubbing it on. If you rub too hard with these little sponges will come off. So if the sponge starts to come off, you're rubbing too hard. You just have to be real light with it. I'm going to go all the way up. Okay. And then we're going to go up towards his little face up here. Going to cover up that gray. And when you're using distress ink, other than using it lightly, you've got to remember also this dries lighter than when you're putting it down. So any work that you've done that you want to darken, go ahead and use a different, you know, put on more. You can put on more. You don't have to change the color. I am going to put a little gathered twigs in here and darken up some of those areas a tiny bit browner. I wanted gold. This is a very light brown base. And I didn't change the tool, so I'm using the same tool so it has the same color on it. The gathered twigs is mixing with the scattered straw. So it's not just those. And you can, while you're doing this, and I've done it a lot, is go between the two. So dab a little of this and dab a little of that, and you'll get a new color that will work really nicely in this. Gonna darken that area a bit more. So both colors. The little tool here is not really big enough to cause any problem with the mixing of these inks. If I was doing maybe a purple on that, I would have a problem, but we're in the same color family, so keeping those together works well. Okay. A little more in here. All right. Enough with inking. I like inking now, so that's just me. Pencils. We're going to get out, a couple Polychomos. Why not? I haven't used them in forever, so I won't be using them too brightly here. Got to come up with some that'll work. That'll be bright. That could work. Want a dark brown. What we have here. Burnt umber work. Yeah, that's a dark brown instead of that one. Okay, when we're using the pencils, we're going to do those tiny little strokes again. I can take this paper out because we're done with wet. So might as well get you down. And see, we've got little stripe or little hairs going here, but we're going to add a little more. When we put this one down. So tiny little strokes go in with his lines. He's got lines here, so use those. If you turn your pencil around, you won't have to take it to the sharpener as much. It'll have a sharp edge on it. Kind of want to go over those dots that he's got there. Kind of let them blend into the fur. Okay, we're going to take in a little of the, what did I pick out here? Dark Naples Ochre. I don't know if you can read these. Okay, this is the kind of yellowish. You're going to want to keep it all in tiny little strokes. We want it to look furry. Okay, and then we have the, this one's Bistre. There we go. So I'll be doing the head here for you, and then I'll do the rest of him off camera, only because little tiny strokes are not all that exciting. They're kind of boring after a while. Okay, so you can see how fuzzy he's getting. I mean, he was fuzzy to start with. Always remember to keep that sharp edge going down to give you those little teeny pieces of hair. And you want to make sure you have at least, when you're doing this, 3 colors, if not more. Okay, we'll go back in with the Bistre. Right on top of the yellow one, which was, what did I call that? Dark Naples Ochre. I said I would do this off camera, and here I am, fluffing it up. And sometimes it's easier to pull that little tail up, it blends a little better. So if you need to get it into a white area, I'll turn my stroke around. Go back in with the golder color. Okay. Just keep on working down. If you want to bring in a lighter color, you could always bring in a little ivory. I have to sharpen the ivory though to get those whites whiter, not whiter, but so they don't look like the plain paper is what I'm saying. And this will stripe in most of your little tiny little hairs. It'll go over some of the spots, which is fine because your hair will sometimes do that. Okay, it'll take down some of that yellow too if you like. Go back up here, fill in these little whiter spots. Look at his ear. Could bring some of those little furs up. Of course, his whiskers. Okay. It's making that more of a whisker up there, but I don't know if they actually have them, so I'm just going to go over it again with the darker, the brown. Okay. Needless to say, that is how the rest of him is going to go. How much of that do you want to watch? So we're going to add and the light. So it's just the three colors going over and over and over with little tiny lines. And then we brought in the ivory, so that actually makes 4 colors. Sorry. It's just I want to keep these little lighter lines light. Okay. And I want to put a little more fur on his tummy. I think he needs a little more fluff. So we're going to darken this area first. And this is the burnt umber. So we'll put in his dark fur. I'll go in with the blister, lighter. A little bit of the yellow Naples, right? Yep, dark Naples yellow. And then we're just going to use the ivory here and make some longer strokes. Kind of give him a fluffier tummy. Okay, then we'll go back over with the darker colors. Darken them up just a little bit. Go in with the blister. Oops, one on his foot. That's all right. Just lighten those up just a little bit. Or darken them up, I should say. Just lightly. Still want to see him, because I want him to have a little fluffiness here. Light little hairs. And then just tone them down a little bit. Because you still want them dark down there. You just want them a little longer there. So that's what it looks like from on top. Just a little longer fluff on his tummy. Everything else is going to be nice and short. So what I'll do is just finish him like I did up at the top. And I will come back and we'll do his eye up. Get his nose a little shinier. But I'm going to finish the fur down here. So I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, here we go. All fuzzy wuzzy. This paw probably needs a little more work. I'm going to bring in the black. I'm going to add a nice dark shadow under these feet. Just following the toe line and bringing some of that black up, especially in between the toes to darken those up. In this kind of area where it needs just a little more darkness. And again, they're the tiny little strokes. Here in his shoulder area, probably. Just lightly, but darkening up that area. Over here. Down in there, behind his ear up here, in his ear, and then of course his little dark markings that come down on his face really have to be darker. So I'm going to bring that down. And then feather it out with little lines. But those really have to be dark. Along with his nose. Color that in. Okay. And he's got one on that side too. Okay, then we're going to work on his eye. So I'm going to turn the book a little bit. Get you down a little closer. Closer, and the phone moves. Okay, so this has to feather out a little bit. His eye, as far as I know, that they have almost looks like eyeliner on. So we're going to darken that under there. And the eye comes down that side. And then that would come out like that. This side's a little different. Tiny little lines there. Not eyelashes, just lines. Fur lines. Okay. Excuse me, I'm wheezing. Eyes are gold. So I had a gold pencil out here that just seemed to be missing from my desk. That's weird. Okay, here it is. So that's the Naples ochre we were using. So we're going to put that down in here, which gives us kind of a yellow color. Right. Then we're going to get an orange. What do we got here? How about terracotta? That'll probably work. We're going to put that up here. I'm not going to worry about his pupil right now. We'll add that in. Okay. And then an orange, if we can find one of those. Nice dark. What do we have here? Little cadmium red. Yeah, that'll work. Mix those all together. Hold on. Okay, then we're going to take our Prisma Black and we're going to put in a pupil here. And of course on the other side. And I think they're, whoops, I'm just throwing pencils all over the place. Give it a kind of a point here. Okay, then we're going to get our Posca. No, not yet. I have to give a shadow in there. So we're going to take just the Polychomos Black here. We're going to go across that real gentle. Because these kind of eyes look like they're under the lid. Okay, we'll put a tiny bit of Posca in. I like that. And we're going to give him a little shine on. Well, I got to get that little, I'm sorry, I keep turning the book, but I have to get his nose shaded in just a little bit more. So it doesn't look too pink. Okay, and then we'll just add a little tiny shine on his nose here. Just like that. And I'm going to call him Done. If you're wondering why I left the toenails alone, I looked up a picture and they actually have kind of almost white toenails. So I'm going to leave them the cream color. I'll highlight these a little more. Make sure they look like claws. There we go. And there we are. All finished. What I'll do is I'll take a picture where you're not getting reflective light all over him. And that's it. Might touch him up here and there, but again, I had fun with this little guy. This is a fun book. There we go. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video. Take care, everyone. Bye now.